Welcome, everyone, to Our Spiritual Ascension with Carl Franklin. This is Ortrune Franklin, and I'll be assisting him this evening. Welcome to all of you that are listening via the phone lines, or whether you're calling in via the internet, or even those that come back and listen to the replays. It is truly, truly appreciated, and I hope that you enjoy the material that's going to be given to you this evening. It's been a long time. It seems like the last month has dragged on in some ways. It seems forever since we've been together, so it's wonderful to be with you again, and I hope you enjoy the show. Carl's topic this evening is 2014, a time of change, and here's Carl.
A belated Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, and I hope you are eagerly anticipating what is to come. Up to this point, most of what has been happening has been behind the scenes. And there was a lot that happened last year that some of you may or may not be aware of that I would like to update you on. And it's behind-the-scenes things that are preparing us for what is to come. If you've ever been in a play, there's an awful lot of work that goes on before the curtain ever rises. And it's that kind of work that's been going on at an exhilarated rate for at least the last 10 years. And the pace is picking up. Last year, for example, there were three significant things that happened. In chronological order, early on in the year, the lower third of our astral plane was removed from the Earth, relocated with another planet that is at a lower level of the third dimension. And this impacts us because the astral plane surrounds the Earth, and the energy that it radiates impacts us just as the energy we radiate impacts them. So the third lowest energies coming from the astral plane are no longer here. We're only getting the higher energies from the astral plane now. And I know this because Ortrune and I do a tremendous amount of work with what we call the earthbound entities. These are people that have died who did not complete the death process. To complete the death process, you need to go through this tunnel of light that leads to the astral plane. Now, most people refer to it as heaven. Okay, but about 25% don't do that because of fear or attachments or addictions. So they're still in the sphere of the earth, but they no longer have a physical body. And when they decide not to go through the tunnel is no longer there for them. And so these are the people that when they're ready to move on, they seek out people who can help them. And Ortrune and I happen to be two of those people. And we're now having to do once, twice, 3 times a day because their energy is very disturbing and upsetting to us. So when they're here, we have to stop what we're doing and call in the angels of transition and help them go through the tunnel. Okay? Well, early last year, there were suddenly 2 tunnels. And I asked the question, why? And that's when they told me that this lower third of the astral plane had been relocated to another planet. When a person dies, they only see one tunnel, the tunnel that is appropriate for them to go through. But I happen to see both of them, and that was the reason for the second tunnel. And then, in October and November of this year, in doing this work with these entities, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, there were the darkest, most powerful, most vile beings I have ever encountered. It's beyond anything I ever knew existed. And they were being escorted by 2 archangels and 1 ascended master off the planet. And this was the top echelon of the forces of darkness. They're the heads of the 12 or 13 families that have been in control, in increasing amount of control for the last 13,000 years. These were you can call them the Illuminati, if you will. They were the very top echelon of the forces of darkness. They had been warned some time ago that either you change what you are doing to benefit humankind instead of just increasing your wealth and power, or you will be removed from the planet. Well, not one of them believed that warning, because they had always been the most powerful beings on the planet, and who could overturn them? Well, what happened in October is that the time had run out, and within a heartbeat, and I mean that literally, within one heartbeat, these 12, 13 beings were removed from their body, and immediately an ascended master of light slipped into that body. So we now have ascended masters. Now, recognize that when an ascended master or any being goes into a low vibrational body, they lose some of their vibration, but they're still masters of light. And they are now heading up the organizations of darkness. That doesn't mean that they can change things immediately. It's going to take 6, 12, maybe 18 months for there to be noticeable change trickling down. And then a week later, again doing the clearing of these entities, there was another parade. This was a larger group. They were also very dark, vile, powerful beings, but not as powerful as the head. These were the second in command of the forces of darkness. And they were being escorted by one archangel and one ascended master. And they were taking them to a rehab center. And in the rehab center, they will have the choice. They'll have the choice of starting all over again, being given a second chance, or being uncreated. The choice is theirs. But they're no longer on the earth. Their energy is no longer here, except as it resides in the bodies that they occupied. Then a couple of weeks later, there was a third incident. This time, again, really dark beings being escorted by one ascended master. And these were the lieutenants, and this was quite a number of them. And they were, again, removed from the planet. So we no longer have the really dark energy, and we have new leadership now in all of the institutions that create and perpetrate darkness. And again, 6, 12, 18 months in order for them to be able for all of this to sift on down to the troops, so to speak. But that is a significant step in eliminating the darkness and replacing it with the light. Now, the third thing that happened, and this was almost unprecedented, the Pope resigned. I think that's only happened once in the history of the Catholic Church. And the Pope that took his place, Pope Francis, well, the old Pope, he was a Pope of the Church. His view of being the Pope was to do all that is in the highest good for the Roman Catholic Church. The new Pope, he's the Pope of the people. He's the Pope of humanity. He has love and compassion for all people of all nations, of all races, of all religions. And he is working out from a planetary level and out of compassion. He is certainly a being of light and in a position of great power and influence. So those are the three things that happened last year that were of great significance. Another thing that has been going on for a number of years, and they made tremendous progress last year, there are representatives of 200 nations that have been meeting to build a new economic structure for the entire world. And I understand from the channeled information that all of the basics behind this, that is all of the rules, the regulations that are going to control banks and world financial institutions, These have all been agreed upon. They're now working on the nitty-gritty, okay? But there is great progress in that. When it's going to be ready to be implemented, we don't know, because we don't know what kind of progress they're going to be making this year. But it is possible that will be ready to be implemented this year. A new world currency backed by precious metals, not controlled by these 12 families that have controlled the finances of the world up to this point. So that is continuing here in 2014. Those are some of the things that have been going on. There is also, we're anticipating that there will be some changes in the governments of the world, including the government here in the United States. We are anticipating that there will be some changes in the economy, not the really big change that's going to occur unless they're able to work all of the details out this year. But these will continue. Now, most light workers and virtually all of the people on the planet that are not light workers, what they're focusing on are these changes in the outer world. The political, the economic, the religious, the moral, the ethical, the legal, the scientific, and so on. And there are people that, well, I'm going to say a significant portion of the Earth's population have a sense that something big is about to happen. And, of course, many of them want to be prepared for it. And because their focus is on what is happening out in the world, they're preparing in material terms. Now, I have a brother that I love dearly. He and his wife and so on, they're regular churchgoers, they're religious people, they're good people. They're also Tea Party Republicans. And they have a fair amount of financial means. And when he retired, he bought over 100 acres on top of a mountain and built a concrete home with a metal roof that cannot burn or would be extraordinarily difficult to destroy. The driveway, and the weather is good, you can get up it with a two-wheel drive vehicle, but other times you have to have a four-wheel drive vehicle. And at the base of the driveway, where it exits this mountain road, there is a gate that the only thing that can get through it when it's closed would be an army tank. And looking over the gate is a video camera. And my brother and his daughter they regularly go to the shooting range to stay proficient. And their daughter has a year's freeze-dried food in her garage. So they're prepared for whatever catastrophe might happen. Big generator run by a huge propane gas tank, and so they're set, they feel. But the interesting thing is that what's happening in the outer world is that's only the surface. And for many of those things to even happen, there has to be something else that changes. There has to be a consciousness of humanity that will not only support it, but also they have to create it. And so the real ascension, the real change is taking place within individual people, within you and within me. And I want you to just quickly go back and remember who you were, how you thought, what your values were, what you believed, what your actions were 25 years ago. You're not that person today, are you? And go back 10 years or 5 years or even 1 year. And can you see that the rate of change within yourself has been increasing? That you are changing at a faster rate than at any other point in your life? And are you in touch with the fact that you know you need to do this? This is vitally important. And you're putting in the time and the effort to do it. And the neat thing is, you're succeeding. You are changing at an unprecedented rate, as am I, as is Ortran, as is virtually all of the people who are working for the light. Our consciousness is raising, and we need a mass human consciousness that is at a higher level than we are presently at to support the fifth dimensional world that we're working towards. In doing life script readings, it's been fascinating to see the change and only light workers come for this. 5 years ago, the light workers were spending roughly 30% of their time in the third dimension and maybe 10 or 12% of their time in the fifth dimension. Now they're spending 14, 17% in the third dimension, roughly one half. But they're spending 38 to 44% in the fifth dimension. That has more than tripled. Now, the fourth dimension is a dimension of transition, and that is still between 40 and 50%, which is an indication we are still transitioning at a very, very rapid rate. But the change in that period of time has been just tremendous, from 10, 12% up to roughly 40% in a 5-year period. And also at the mall as Santa, I see a couple thousand kids a year, and the change in these children, over 50% of the children are now coming in with indigo and or crystal energy. And most of them have a combination of the indigo and crystal energy, which indicates that the DNA of the younger people is transitioning very, very rapidly. They're coming in at a higher level. And what I'm also finding is that older people, they are opening more codons in their DNA, and some of them are now beginning the merger process with their light body. Their light body has a 12-strand DNA versus the normal 2-strand that we have. It isn't that the 2-strand is becoming the 12-strand, it's that the 12-strand is coming in as light. And this is going to be an ongoing process. How fast it happens is determined by how rapidly an individual grows in their consciousness. It takes the higher consciousness to support the 12-strand DNA. But it is happening. And this is relatively new in my experience to see and experience that within other people as well as to an extent within myself. So we are transitioning physically. And our consciousness is what allows this physical transition to take place. Within ourselves, it is important that you consciously, and for most of us we need to do it daily, open wide our chakras and energy centers in our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Not only open them as wide as possible, but have them vibrating at the highest possible frequency. And understand that each chakra has a range of frequencies. And we need the lower frequencies open so that we can stay grounded into the earth. But as the higher frequencies open in these chakras, we're able to tune in to ever higher celestial spirit beings, higher aspects of ourself. And then we also want to keep open the tens of thousands of energy centers that are throughout our 4 bodies. And we want them functioning as close as possible to 100% of efficiency. It will keep us healthy. It will give us more energy. It will help us stay balanced. So to open chakras and energy centers, do it daily. And this is where the real transition is going to be taking place in 2014 within you. The outer cannot happen unless we have the consciousness on the planet to support it. So as we raise our consciousness, and we're the only ones that can raise our consciousness, and as more and more light workers are doing this, and as more and more people become aware and become light workers, this is what's going to support and allow these outer changes to happen more rapidly and more completely. The other thing that I would suggest in terms of changes within yourself, when I wake up in the morning and during my meditation and when I'm praying over my food and in odd times during the course of the day, I focus my attention on my spirit family. Our spirit families are made up of usually around 21, 22 angels. There are higher aspects of ourself, our Christ itself, our mighty I Am presence. And then we have master teachers and ascended masters that may be working with us. That's our spirit family. If they're not with us 24/7, they're on call 24/7. All you have to do is think of them, and they are all there. And it's important that you not only sense their presence, but that you begin communicating with them. They're not allowed to interfere, but if you ask, they love to help. And if you ask, they're not interfering. If there's any information you need, if you need power, if you need energy, if you need answers, if you need wisdom, if you need comfort, if you need peace, whatever it is you have a need for, ask. And they get so much sense of enjoyment and fulfillment, particularly the angels, out of being of service to you. That's a part of why they're here, is to support us. And it is through you, your physical body, that they ground their energy into the earth. That's why it's important to keep chakras and energy centers open. It's through you that their words can be expressed. It's through you that they can teach. It's through you that their energy can radiate out. Without us working together, we limit them. Without us working together, we are trying to run a race with our legs tied together. It's important that we work together, and that means communication. It means exchange of thoughts, exchange of energy. But there's another aspect to us that I touched on last month that I want to touch on again, and that is our soul. The information that has fallen into place by connecting various dots is that our soul is an aspect of Mother God. It is this that makes us divine. It is this that caused Jesus to say, "Do you not know that you are God?" It is this that caused the psalmist to write, "Ye are God." And for us to get in touch with and recognize our own divinity and to begin communicating with it and to begin drawing on its energy, its resources, its wisdom, its love, its at-one-ment. The way I see myself when I'm praying over my food and I call forth my soul, Mother God, and I call forth my spirit family, together we make a holy trinity. I am the anchor. I am the grounding vehicle of their love, their wisdom, their knowledge, their compassion. And together we are complete. Separate, we are separate. We are incomplete. So to become one with them in consciousness, in heart, in mind, in word, in action, I believe that is the key to moving moving forward and merging with our light body. I believe that is the key to becoming one with our Christ itself. So the real transition that is taking place is within you, within me, and with other people. We determine the rate, the speed. We determine how far we go as well as how fast we get there. And I cannot encourage you strongly enough to go as fast as you comfortably can, because this higher frequency energy is essential for the grounding of the new economy, the new governments, the new religions. Without this, the transformation is stymied. The ascension goes nowhere without us doing our work. Okay, Ortrun has something she wants to share here. Oh.
Okay, we have a few questions and a few comments, and also if you're interested in posing a question, if you're on the phone, just press *2. But at this point in time, I'm looking at the questions on the internet, and I'll check the others in a moment. Okay, so these are some of the questions that came in, Carl. One asks, what about digital currency like Bitcoin?
I don't have any information to share on that. I don't know that much about it. I've not been given that much information. And my personal feeling, working from an little information, is it could be a transitional currency. The reason I say that is because there is nothing backing it. With the world currency that's being worked on, it is backed by precious metals. But with bit currency, it basically, as I understand it, works on a barter system. I believe that eventually, and I don't know what the time frame is here, it may be 25, 50, or 100 years, we're going to reach the point in consciousness that we will not need any currency. We are all going to have what we need to sustain our life in a comfortable manner. So we will be free to pursue our own interest. And the artist will have the enjoyment of painting or sculpturing and then giving it to someone who would really enjoy it. Someone who enjoys gardening will have the enjoyment of gardening for the artist, and so on. So I think that's where we're headed eventually. And by that time, I also believe that we will no longer need any instruments to be able to materialize the food that we need or the clothes that we wear or the shelter that we live in. We'll be able to, with our minds, call into form what it is we want and need. Okay?
Here's a question from Juliana, and the question is, what is the latest message that you are receiving from your inner earth guide, Aliyah?
I haven't had anything from Aliyah for probably 3 or 4 months, so I do not have any update on that. The only time I have contact with Aliyah is when I'm working with a group, and the group wants to go into inner earth. Then she comes and takes us.
Okay, and here is another question, and this question is, will we see extraterrestrial connections with humans this year? And then he goes on to say, the kind that is beyond doubt and conspiracy, undeniable evidence will change the course of a direction for all.
That is entirely possible. There is no definitive answer. Again, when we have contact with them is dependent upon the collective human consciousness. They will not come in a way that will engender fear. They want to come in a way that will engender a sense of at-one-ment. So, again, the timing is up to us. Now, also, understand that the space beings and the spirit beings and even inner earth beings do not work in linear time. We're alone in working with linear time. That's a lower concept of time. So when they're trying to translate things into linear time, because that's beyond their personal experience, they're not very good at it, okay? Because, see, we think about quarterly returns on our investments, and we think about, having enough money to pay the bills this month, whereas they think in terms of decades and centuries and millennium. They are very, very long-term thinkers. So 10 years to them is a very short period of time. And when they say soon, that may be a year, 5 years, or 10 years, because from their perspective, that's what soon means. So are we going to see space beings this year? I think there is a real possibility of that. Now, one other thing that we might see this year, there have been dozens of channeled messages that have been talking about the event. None of them have defined what the event is. I personally feel that it might be a very, very high and massive wave of high-frequency energy that comes into the earth that will literally uplift everyone and will impact everything, bringing the earth to a higher vibrational rate. And depending upon a person's readiness for it, if you are ready for it, you may take a quantum leap in your consciousness. If you are not ready for it, you may take a small rise in your consciousness. That's only my interpretation of what the event is, and it is predicted to happen this year. And it may be that if that happens, then that will be followed by a visit from our space brothers and sisters. But, again, the channeled information is saying the first thing that will happen is a revise of world currency. The economic change is to be the first thing that happens. Without that, there will not be governmental change. It is money that forms and shapes and moves governments. So they've said that the currency change, then governmental change, and sometime after the currency change, then we will have contact with our space brothers and sisters. But I'm hoping, like you, I'm hoping that the sooner is the better. I'm ready, and I know that all of you listening are ready. But how many of your neighbors are ready? How many of your family members are really ready? And that's where we need to devote time and energy. We can't make them ready, but we can send them love, we can send them peace, we can send them joy, we can keep them surrounded in a positive, uplifting energy field that will facilitate and encourage their growth.
That's all the questions we have at this point in time. If there are any individuals that would like to ask a question, the ones that are on the phone, again, just a reminder to press *2. That will allow me to know who it is, and I can unmute the phone so that you can speak with Carl.
While we're waiting for questions, some other thoughts I'd like to share. I am not aware of any planet or any race of beings that have gone through what we are going through here. And I see this as an unprecedented opportunity. We're going to have experiences in making this transition, not only making it ourselves, but helping to create it, that have not been had by other beings throughout the third creation. And know that the third creation is made up of just under 700,000 universes. I've talked about the experiment that is taking place on Earth, doing something that has never been done in any of those 700,000 universes. And the rate of change that is occurring, again, is unprecedented. And there are beings throughout this third creation that are looking at us and they're just shaking their head in utter amazement. They did not think it was possible for any species to evolve as rapidly as we are presently evolving. And they're fascinated by this, because most of these universes have some planets that are still in the third dimension, populated planets. And what we're doing here is we are cutting a new pattern. We're creating a new way of expediting the growth in consciousness, the growth in society and cultural awareness and development. And we're doing it in a way that's never been done before. So what we are doing here, it is felt, may well become the norm throughout all of this third creation. To be here at this time and to be involved in this, and we volunteered to be here, and we were selected, and I've been told that for each opening here there were 10,000 applicants. So it is indeed a tremendous honor to be here to experience this. And because of the honor of being here, and because of what we can learn, the growth we can attain, to not absolutely do the utmost best that we can, to me doesn't make any sense. We have a responsibility that goes throughout the third creation, goes beyond anything with our limited consciousness we can begin to conceive or envision. The impact of what we are achieving here, what you are achieving within yourself, has implications that are so vast, and it has the potential of assisting so many beings in so many places. This is one of the things that motivates me, and I share it with you, hoping it will, stimulate and motivate you. And again, I would appreciate any comments or any questions that you might have on this new information, as well as what has already been shared.
There are, okay, here's something. Kevin from Toronto, he asks, were we tricked into volunteering, or were we given enough information to make an informed decision to come here during this time?
Good question, Kevin. I believe that we were given as much information as we were able to understand. All right? Now, most of us, we have been here multiple, tens, hundreds of lifetimes. And but we spent literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years lowering our vibration so that we could be here. This lifetime is the culmination of all that precedes it. Okay, all light workers, in my experience, are descending beings. That is, we came here from higher dimensions, from higher realms. I find that about a third of the light workers have come here from the angelic realm. Another third have come here from the spirit realm. Another third have come here from the space realm, higher dimensional space. And so the fact that we had not ever, or so long ago, experienced what we're going through now, it's hard to understand what you've never experienced. But we were given, again, the best information available, and how much of it we understood was dependent upon, our own individual consciousness. There was no deceit in that. Now, Kevin, I'm glad you called because I want to talk about something else that is happening here. And that is, we have a magisterial Son of God on the planet in physical form. There have only been two beings of this magnitude that are here. They are the second highest beings in all of creation. And his name is Mon Jorensen. And he is here not only as a magistrate, but he is also here as a teacher. And when the time is appropriate, he will announce himself, and he will assume the role that he's here to assume. And he said that unlike his brother, Jesus the Christ, who was here only a short time, he will be here for a much longer time. And it is my expectation that he will be here through most of the Aquarian age, which is roughly 2,100 years. So if you have a need or if you want to offer your services to him, his name is Mon Jorensen. In meditation, reach out to him and offer what it is you want to offer, and be open to a reply if one were to come.
Okay, here's a question regarding the discovery of the pyramids off the Azores Islands. They say that it has connection to the Egyptian pyramids. Do you know anything about that, Carl?
I don't know anything specific about that, but there are pyramids all over the planet. All of the ancient civilizations, whether it's in South America, whether it's in China, whether it's in Egypt, they all constructed pyramids because pyramids are a very, very powerful thing. And they also constructed obelisks, which are also very powerful. So this is... I don't know anything about those specific pyramids, but I know that there are other pyramids that have been discovered underwater in the last 5 or 6 years.
I just want to comment on the Azores Island pyramids. That the Atlanteans, this is also said to be associated with the Atlanteans, and when the different groups like the Lemurians, when their continents began to sink, they moved, and eventually some of them also moved into the Atlantean area, and once they sank, one of the first places that the Atlanteans came was to Egypt, and there was actually even if you look at an aerial view, you can see that there is actually a riverbed, a dried up riverbed where they came in. But the Atlanteans brought their teachings to Egypt because they felt that was a very balanced place, because it was one of, there is Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt, but that represented balance, and at that time there was balance there, and so they brought their teachings to Egypt. So, and then they started, the builders of the pyramids of the Atlantean times are the ones also that started the periods, building the pyramids in Egypt. And the first of these pyramids was the Saqqara pyramid, the step pyramid. I have other questions, yes. Okay, now the next question is from Mary, and she's actually asking about your life script readings. And she's wondering if that would connect her with her spirit guides. She wants to be more in touch with them.
Mary, it's the most effective means I know of getting in touch with your spirit guides, and also finding out who else is in your spirit family, what higher aspects of yourself and teachers, and so on. So yes, that would be very effective. And let me just get in a little couple of comments here. In a life script reading, the first thing we do is we want to find out where you came from, because that's still the basic energy you carry. And then we want to connect you with your spirit family, and also with your Christ, your divine soul, your Mother God. and we want to find out how much of your time you're spending in the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. And then we go into the temple that contains the Akashic record, and we look together, we look at the script, or the contract, some call it, that you wrote for this lifetime. And it involves the service you're here to give and the growth you're here to attain. And we end that experience with just a very powerful initiation, okay? And it's all recorded, so because there's too much to remember, and of course that is sent to you. It takes about 45 minutes, and it costs. And yeah, you can go to the website, but the cost is $75.
And just a reminder, the website is www.ourspiritualascension.com. Okay, we have quite a few more questions, so I'm going to continue with these. This one's from Susan, and she says, Carl, how can we help loved ones who are bound to suffer through the changes you describe? For example, I have an alcoholic brother and an elderly father, both of whom are terrified of death, but seem equally afraid of ascension. Is there a path I can take to assist them? Is it better just to pray they cross over?
The most effective thing you can do is your own personal growth and you as a role model. If they see your peace, your happiness, your joy, your effectiveness, okay, and let them know that if they want any of this, that you'll be happy to help them attain it. Other than that, you can keep them in a bubble of light. Now, light is, if you take light and you flip it over, you have love. They're two sides of the same energy. So keep them in a bubble of light and ask their spirit families to touch their heart and their mind to help them be at peace and to get in touch with the higher aspects, of their divine essence. Okay.
Okay, and Scarlett, she is from San Jose. She's asking, for those of us who are unemployed and seeking to enroll in our society, what would you suggest we do to connect to our next opportunity that is aligned with the new order?
For that, you have to tune within. No one in a physical body can give you an answer. It's going to be coming from your spirit family. Okay, so let them know that you are open and listen to them. Meditate regularly. And again, in the course of the day, just be aware that they're there and, just dialogue with them. You don't have to be in a meditative state to do that. Though to get the deeper information, it's more helpful to be in a state of meditation. But that kind of information has to come from within, and it will be coming from your spirit family or from your own divine self.
Okay, and this is from Genevieve from Quebec. It says, Dear Carl, my cousin Marie passed on October 10th, and I wonder if she's hanging around my energies, hoping for my help to really pass to where she must go.
What is her name?
What's the name of the one that passed? Could you please put that on the site for us? Just 1 second. Let me see. I don't know. She didn't give it, so I don't. Her name is Genevieve.
What was the relationship?
This was her cousin Marie.
Oh, Marie.
Yes, Marie.
Okay. Has Marie completed her transition? No, she has not. Okay. We're going to take a minute right here, and we're going to help Marie. First of all, I'm asking Ortran Spirit Family and my Spirit Family to build a strong bubble of light around us, and this is for our protection. We're now asking the angels of transition that they come and be with Maria. We're also asking that loved ones of Marie who have completed their transition come now from the heavenly astral planes and be with her. We're asking that the angels and the loved ones show Marie the way to go home. And Maria has gone through the tunnel. Okay, if ever you have one that has died, you can use that simple procedure if you go within, or if you dowse or use some other instrument to see if they've completed their transition, if they need help, just call in first of all, protect yourself and whoever else is in the room, and then call in the angels of transition, call in their loved ones, and ask them to guide them to where it is, to take them home or where it is in their highest good to be. And almost always it will work.
Okay, and this is from Ruby, and Ruby said, last week I felt ill, but it did not manifest. Since last Friday, I see with new eyes more love, joy, and gratitude than I have ever known. What is happening?
Well, hey, isn't that beautiful? Thank you for sharing that. What is happening is either you released something or some things, or you were already ready for this higher wave of consciousness energy to come to you. You have just taken a notable step upward in your ascension process. And know that most of the steps are beautiful like that, and you will notice it, you just feel different. Now also know that there may be some backsliding in the months ahead, so be aware of that, and to the extent you can, don't let it happen. Retain the high that you have now.
Okay, and this is a question from Janet, and Janet from New Haven. And she's asking, isn't the idea of world currency and world government still a concept of the third dimension?
We're not talking about world government. We're talking about a world economy. Our economy is, in essence, already one. Okay? But right now, did you know that there are some currencies that you can't trade? They're not accepted by the banks. So that's a way that they, like the Iranian currency, for example. And there are some other currencies of countries that are out of favor with the big boys. And so their currency has no value outside of their own country. With a world currency, that cannot happen. And with a world currency backed by precious metal, countries cannot individually just have their Federal Reserve banks print currency and thus deflate the dollar, which causes inflation. I've been reading some stuff recently where the average wage was 22 cents an hour about 100 years ago. And look at it now. A house was maybe $1,200. Okay? And the bankers make money on inflation. That will not happen. And it will be much more fair to everyone. Now, currency is a temporary thing. When we reach the point that we're at the level of our consciousness, or let me say divinity, that we can do everything that Jesus did and even more, we will then have no need for currency. And currency will disappear.
Okay, and Kevin, he asks, as Manjoranson is here, are there any other ascended masters, Jesus, Mary, Buddha, that are here now with us in physical form? And if not, why are they not here now in physical form to help us through this transitional period of unprecedented history?
There are more ascended masters in physical embodiment now than ever before. There are some that need to stay on the other side because they can more effectively do what they're here to do from that level. But the number of ascended masters, again, is larger than and the percentage of ascended masters is larger who are in physical embodiment than we've ever experienced. So they are where they are supposed to be to most effectively do what they're here to do in this whole ascension process.
Carl, that's the end of the questions. Jeannie just wants to thank you for helping Marie pass to complete her transition. And we have 5 minutes left, so I think it's time for you to summarize and finish up.
I would like to do a short meditation if you'll make yourself comfortable and close your eyes. You are not only filled with light, you are filled with the divine essence of Mother God. It is a golden light that is filling and radiating out from your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. If someone who has sight beyond physical sight could look at you, you are a ball of golden light. You are in perfect harmony within yourself, within your room. You are in perfect harmony with your spirit family, with higher aspects of yourself. Your light is connecting with the light of others on this call. The light is now filling the country and much of Canada. The golden white light of Mother God is moving into all hearts and minds that are open to receive it. It is moving into the air and the water and the soil. It is raising the consciousness and the frequency of all that it touches. When you come out of this meditation, you may well be aware of changes that were made in your body in these few moments of time. You may well be aware of the deep sense of peace that you will have, and the feeling of connectedness and one-ment with everyone and everything. For Mother God is everywhere throughout creation. She gave birth to creation. And her energy is present everywhere. And you are now tuning into this energy within yourself. And in so doing, you are able to sense the energy everywhere that you are. You may stay in this state as long as you choose. And when you're ready, all you need do is open your eyes. And know that when you do, you have just come out of a transformative experience. You have connected with your divine soul. Enjoy the balance of this day, the balance of this week. You are blessed. You are empowered. You are guided. And you are deeply, deeply loved.
We want to thank every one of you for joining in with us this evening. Just a reminder that Ortran Show is every second Monday of the month at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and Carl's is every third Monday of the month on WIN. And also, Carl and I have a program on Star Nations radio networks, and that's the third Thursday of every month, and at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And also make sure you check out the wonderful WIN partners, their programs on World Class WIN. And if you need us for anything, please contact us via our website, www.ourspiritualascension.com. Blessings to you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful month. Thank you again for joining in.